With the Origami King just hitting shelves very recently, I thought it was time to update our February 2018 video ranking the 5 Paper Mario games to include Origami King. I was very skeptical when it was announced, but let's see how I've ranked it now that I've played it. But before we begin, I have to give the same disclaimer I give in every ranking video. This is not an objective list. This is my opinion. If you disagree, that's great. Let us know your ranking in the comments, but keep it civil. Doesn't matter what a stranger on the internet thinks is the better video game. With that being said, let's get into number 6 on the ranking. Paper Mario Sticker Star. Now, I really don't like this game for a multitude of reasons, and this is the only game in the series that I got pretty much no enjoyment out of. Yeah, the game looks nice, but that's about it. There is absolutely no story for a series that is known for having some plot to keep the player engaged. And this was the successor to Super Paper Mario, widely regarded as the best story in any Mario game. You could find a story in New Super Mario Bros. That is on par with this. Besides the story, there are no unique characters or environments. Remember how everyone loved the brand new characters in the first 3 games, and the really weird and unfamiliar environments in those games? Well, Sticker Star has Goombas, Koopa Troopas, Shy Guys, generic Toads, and Bowser as the main villain and characters. And you have unique environments like grasslands, desert, jungle, and a frozen tundra. You're better off avoiding enemies and using your stickers for mandatory boss fights. Now let's talk about the backtracking. Many Mario RPGs have backtracking, and it works to various degrees, but Sticker Stars is just so horrible and stupid. It seems like no thought was put into it, and all you do is go to random levels and hope you can find the specific thing you need to advance in a later level. There aren't really any hints or anything, just random exploration. One of the few semi-redeeming qualities in this game is the soundtrack is alright. Nowhere near the level of the other games, but it certainly does its job. But I really can only remember a few songs from the game. Overall, I really don't like Sticker Star, and it was not difficult at all to put it as the worst on the ranking. At number 5, we have Color Splash. Sticker Star 2 was certainly better than its predecessor, but still not a great game. I'll start off with the positives. The soundtrack has such a unique theme, as many of the songs have a pseudo-jazz/ragtime feel to them, and you can really hear the orchestral sounds in many pieces as well. The game is also gorgeous. I'm not a fan of the whole obsession with making everything paper. I preferred the first 3 games, simply using it as an art style and not having the entire game be about paper, but there's no doubt the game looks amazing. The humor is also pretty enjoyable, but after that, that's where many of the positives run out. The story still feels like an afterthought, and once again, the environments and characters just feel uninspired. Bowser is the main villain, again. The battle system is also once again pretty pointless. The only value it has is you can upgrade the amount of paint you can store, but it doesn't really do that much as you already store plenty. It is also super tedious, as it takes forever to use a card. You have to select it on the gamepad, fill it with paint, swipe up, rinse, and repeat. Color Splash really just feels like an improved version of Sticker Star, but that really isn't saying too much. Number 4, the Origami King. There will be no spoilers. This is where I originally thought it would be when I first saw the trailer, and after playing it, that's where I'm still putting it. Origami King was definitely better than Color Splash, and it isn't particularly close. It took more steps forward from where Color Splash was, but it still feels more like the modern Paper Mario games than the original trilogy. There are plenty of positives though. The soundtrack is very good, as expected. The world is more open this time, as you don't have a world map. The main villain throughout the game is King Ollie, which is different than having Bowser as the main villain. Partners are kind of back. You don't control them at all, but it's still something. And like with Color Splash, the game looks amazing. However, the story, while better than the recent 2 games, still didn't hold up to the original trilogy. Everything is still paper, except some bosses, which I'll get to in a minute. As I've said before, it was called Paper Mario, as the design was just supposed to take inspiration from a storybook, not have the entire world actually made out of paper. This is the 3rd game in a row that they're doing this, and it's just getting old. Having the same style for 3 games in a row usually is going to make it stale. There are definitely some more unique environments than the past 2 games, but once again, it pales in comparison to the original trilogy. The combat system is better now, as it doesn't have stickers or cards, but there are no experience points, which puts little incentive into battling. The board you move enemies around on is an interesting concept, which I think plays out alright, but I still very much prefer the original style. And as a callback to my initial reaction where I said it could ruin the series, while I think Origami King is a pretty enjoyable game, it isn't great, but was a nice experience. It still seems like Nintendo is hellbent on just improving the Sticker Star formula instead of either completely changing it up or making a sequel to either TTYD or Super. Yes, I know Origami King is different from Sticker Star, but it still shares a ton of the same aspects and problems. You may have enjoyed Origami King a lot and think it's the best, but remember, this is a subjective list. Number 3, Paper Mario. The original Paper Mario deserves a lot of credit for creating this series and laying the groundwork for it. Now, the story isn't the greatest, but it definitely is there. The Peach interludes act as a great way to get you more engaged in the story, and it does get a pass for having Bowser as the main villain, since this was the first Mario RPG to do so. But there are so many unique characters, from the partners, the Toads that actually have distinct personalities, new bosses, and NPCs. There's also new environments like Shy Guy's Toy Box and Flower Fields, and there's more going on in the typical environments like the grasslands and desert. Paper Mario also had a brand new battle system where every bit of damage counts. You won't be doing 20 points of damage with an attack, so you need to think about what you're going to do. The customization with badges also adds more strategy in as well, with all of the different options at your disposal. Paper Mario is just an amazing game that started this great series. And at number 2, we have the game that pretty much improved on the original Paper Mario in every aspect. Story, gameplay, combat, characters, environments, soundtrack. Thousand Year Door took what made the original great and just made it better. The partners have more personality, as they really didn't have much in the original. There are some really amazing, unexpected chapters, such as joining a league where you keep battling in hopes to finally beat the legendary Rock Hawk to win it all. There's a mystery on a train that has a private investigator penguin attempting to solve it. You could even go to the moon at the end, a whole 13 years before Odyssey did it. The battle system is also greatly improved over the original, and even puts you on stage with an audience that could both assist you or also try to hurt you. TTYD also had a more interesting story, with the new villains being the X-Nauts, led by Sir Grotus, instead of Bowser. Then there's also the Shadow Queen, which makes this game a whole lot more dark. There's just so much to say about this game that makes it so amazing. You have the Pinata Mafia in Rogueport, which by itself is something you could talk about for a while. It's just not a typical Mario location. You have the amazing soundtrack, which I believe to be the second best in the series, all the hidden secrets, the humor, the new gameplay mechanics that come from the curses. Thousand Year Door is a masterpiece, and one of my favorite games of all time. But I do think there is one game in the series that is better. At number 1, we have Super Paper Mario. This is a surprise to literally no fan of the channel, as I've said it who knows how many times, but this is my favorite game of all time. So obviously it's going to be my favorite in the series. It's a controversial opinion, but it's just that, an opinion. If you feel yourself getting mad because of this opinion, just click off the video now. If you disagree but are a rational person who doesn't get angry at opinions on video games, then I invite you to listen to my explanation. The story is absolutely amazing, and it's something that likely won't be seen in a Mario game again, with how anti-story Miyamoto has been since Super Paper Mario and Mario Galaxy. In fact, there's so much lore in this game that we made a video going over every bit of lore in the game, and it took over 30 minutes. Psst. Link in the description. Brand new villains like Count Bleck and Dementio also make this game a whole lot darker, like with the Shadow Queen in TTYD. Count Bleck wants to destroy all of the worlds due to a tragic event in his life, and there's a few very good twists surrounding this later in the game. The soundtrack also, in my opinion, is the best of any Mario RPG. There's just countless amazing songs like The Ultimate Show, Gloam Valley, Merly's Mansion, Sammer's Kingdom, and just so many more. While the game is pretty easy, it is also fun to explore all of the environments in 2 different perspectives. As for the environments themselves, let's just take a look at a few. There's a sweatshop located in a giant mansion, a world completely made of bits, a Japanese-inspired kingdom that pits you against samurai-inspired characters, the underwear, which I believe represents between heaven and hell, and the over there, which is meant to represent heaven. The gameplay, while being very easy, is still very fun, as it plays more like a traditional Mario platformer, but that's okay. It's still more of an RPG than Sticker Star and Color Splash, and there actually is one turn-based battle later in the game, which is a nice homage to the previous games in the series. Super Paper Mario is also a masterpiece like Thousand Year Door, but I just personally like it better. So that's the ranking. Did you agree or disagree? Have you played Origami King yet? And if so, what do you think of it? And once again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out other Paper Mario videos, such as the documentary, the lore acts, our top ranking of the top 50 Mario songs, and be sure to subscribe and like this video. This has been Taylor with Game Domain.